Hey Pisces, so this will be your energy check-in reading for the period of the new moon in Capricorn, which started on Wednesday, but we're gonna, take it for the, this should be significant of this week. Oh la la. A week thereafter. And without further ado, I'm doing a slightly different approach if you're a return viewer, but I wanted to do a more academic approach at first and then start doing the intuitive reading after I go along. So let's just dive into this because, but first I want to say this is a timeless reading, even though it's inspired by the new moon in Capricorn. If you're just finding me at some other distant future period, this reading is meant for you then, and it's just meant for you when you find it. And wow. And if this resonates with you, please do hit the like button, subscribe, leave your comment below. I love to hear from you. So Pisces, let's get into this. I started, what's going to be the signifier for your reading is the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups represents a deep soul contract or a deep soul connection or bond. It's two people who see eye to eye, who really get each other at the very least, but it can be true love. In a romantic relationship, this can be the one. Some people say soulmates or twin flames. If you so subscribe to those ideas, those concepts, but doesn't have to be romantic. It could be your best friend. It could be a really deep and committed business relationship, a partnership that is, again, just like-minded. You're in it for the same reasons. Your passions ring at the same vibration. It's a really beautiful relationship is what the Two of Cups speaks to. It also can be self-love too. This could also be a reflection of yourself. Two of Cups. Water energy, dealing with emotion. What's crossing you is the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is major arcana, obviously. It means taking a step back, getting a different perspective. It's talking about meditation, surely, but usually it means that a situation is going to require you to take pause and look at it from a different perspective. It could also mean hesitation. It could mean a waiting period. The root of you is the Five of Cups. Five of Cups talks about the need to move on from an emotional situation because of disappointment, being disappointed emotionally about something or someone. It talks about having your back turned on the situation, having lost faith. Yeah, it's a card of disappointment in love in general, but it's also a feeling of, what's the word? Being dejected and rejecting. This sort of a stubborn energy of rejecting further offers, hurt feelings, due to hurt feelings. What's crowning you, though, is an offer of unconditional love. The Ace of Cups is a new beginning in love or creation, creativity, too. This can also mean art, but being the purest form of its element of water, it is love unconditional. So the element of water deals with emotions, and first and foremost, love. So Pisces, that's what's crowning you. It's a really beautiful energy of unconditional, overflowing, spiritual love. And your recent past is the Ace of Swords. This is a breakthrough. This is victories. This is new ideas. It's clarity, having clarity on a situation, gaining clarity, new clarity, but really breakthrough energy, aha moments. It's in your recent past. And in your near future is the Queen of Swords. Makes sense. Queen of Swords is the element of air. It could signify a person who is an air sign. So that's an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. Feminine energy with the Queen, but doesn't have to be male or female if we're talking about a person. The energies that this card talks about archetypally, though, is someone who is very sharp-witted, sharp-minded, very intelligent, clear with their word, very clear communicator, someone who's very, they don't suffer fools gladly, I like to say, and I've said often already about the Queen of Swords. She's just going to get right to the nut of a situation with when it comes to talking about things, and it may seem brusque or impolite, but it's just because she's speaking the truth. Being the Queen of Swords, though, it's not going to come out ill-refined. She's an excellent communicator, so you won't be. It's not as if her word will be very cutting. It will probably be very cultivated, in fact. So the Queen of Swords in your near future could represent a person outside of you, or it could be your energy. All right, so signifying you specifically, though, is the Knight of Wands in reverse. Knight of Wands is messenger energy, but it's also, he's very passionate. He's bringing news of inspiration. In the reverse, that energy is a bit frustrated. So it could be that you're really brimming with a lot of fiery passion and inspiration, but something's holding you back. You feel perhaps held back from something with this energy in the reverse. In your environment, somehow, this is not like, in your environment is the Three of Pentacles. This came out in the reverse, though. So the Three of Pentacles is a card of collaborations in work. It's a card of quality work, of really excellent work working together. It's group energy. In the reverse, there's again a frustration or a delay in your environment. And pardon me, my eyes itchy. And it could also mean that that there's a need to release the group energy, or that there's an end to a project period being in your environment. In the reverse, in general, these energies can be either frustrated or delayed. So we'll see how this all goes together in a moment. And your hopes and fears. Whoa, I'm going to have to get that. Pardon me. Just one fill, right? So your hopes and fears is quite clearly, sorry Pisces, peekaboo, come back, just make sure I did. It's the Six of Swords. Six of Swords means leaving a situation. There's choppy waters here, and you're having to leave a situation to regain to regain peace of mind. And so that being in your hopes and fears is maybe that you are afraid that you may have to leave something behind. And this might be some mental energy, some mental baggage with that. And let's see what your outcome reveals. Okay, very clearly, your outcome is the Queen of Cups. Beautiful energy with Queen of Cups. She's it's feminine energy, divine feminine energy, but it doesn't have to be a male or female necessarily, gender-wise, significant of. Just in general, we'll see how this ties into the reading itself in a moment. But she is again, divine feminine energy. Water signs are represented by the cups, and so we're talking about you, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, and she's very nurturing. She's very loving, just brimming over with love, and just love unconditional. She is the mother goddess of love giving, and if you will, and she's pre-empress energy, but she's also pre-priestess energy. With the Queen of Cups, she's highly intuitive. So really lovely energy here with the Queen of Cups, especially in the outcome. Okay, Pisces, let's take a look into this. So what we see here is that you have cups and swords, a little bit of passion there with the wands, a little bit of fire. So where we start out is that your situation has to do with somebody with whom you feel a very close connection with, a very close bond with, a soul contract of some sort. This can be a romantic partner. It could also be a business relationship or a friendship, a platonic friendship, but somebody who you feel a really deep bond with, just like-minded, your ride or die, so to speak. But somebody who you really love. And the crossing energy is this hangman, this feeling that you need to take a step back and perhaps have a reassessment period about this situation, about this relationship. And it's major arcana, so there's a big deal reason. Something might be changing in this dynamic, and it requires you to take a step back and look at things from all directions with the hangman energy. It's also asking you whatever's happening between this pair, between you and another, to don't act hastily. Take the time. Do wait and see. Because at the root of you, you're at a really emotional low. It seems that, you're disappointed in something, some behavior, some event, something transpired evidently, which is causing you a great deal of emotional disappointment. But the reason why the hangman is here saying, take a step back, look at it in all directions. You might be feeling one way, but what's surrounding you is that there is unconditional love here. There is love here. And it's the Two of Cups, which is the real deal. I call them the mini lovers card. I do have to point out, though, that the Two of Cups and the Lovers, for that reason, is the two really does talk about a balance or a choice. The direction, the duality of the two in general can mean that you're up against a choice here. So with the hangman having to be considerate over something and think it over, meditate on it, that's there. But there is love here. This is crowning energy. It's really beautiful, overflowing, unconditional love. So that's recognized here. It doesn't mean you need to stay in this connection, whatever it is. But that's the reason why it's going to take a lot of deep contemplation. In your recent past is there's something you found out. You found out something. It's clear as day here. And again, if this is a relationship or partnership, whatever the partnership dynamic is, let's just say that it could be romantic or platonic or professional across the board here. So far, that I can read this generally. We're not looking at something that's pointing to a specific scenario. But there was something found out. Something became clear. You had new knowledge on something. New knowledge was presented to you very recently. And so in your near future, what you have is somebody who is able to communicate with this new knowledge, because so what happens is, it's really beautiful, Pisces, because look, it sucks that there's a disappointment, of course. But what I'm seeing here is somebody who's handling their stuff really well and in a really mature way. You're not being reactive. You're recognizing the love here. You found something out that's disappointing, to you. That wasn't a part. There was a breach of this soul contract. But instead of reacting, you took a step back, or you're taking a step back, and you're thinking about it. And then what happens is you're able to communicate from a very clear and exalted and refined space and get your point across. And I think that this works for you really, really well. This is a really good thing. I mean, it's a good thing just because it's a good way to have something like this play out, isn't it? But you are able to therefore get your point across in this conversation. And I think that it's very interesting. I need to get some clarifiers along the way here, and I will. But yeah, this signifies somebody, and this I believe is your energy in the near future. Somebody who's able to get their point across very clearly, very concisely, and very eloquently, and not being unnecessarily hurtful. Because the truth may hurt somebody, that's not up to you. But you're not meaning to be mean. You're not being mean for the sake of being mean. You're not being hurtful just to. She is wielding a sword, but her sword is it's exalted. She's the queen. And if she was upside down or in the reverse, it would be a different story. But she's not. You're just getting across your truth, and it's up to the other person, to accept it and have it land and continue the higher-minded conversation. So that's what's happening here. Really well done, Pisces. And so, then we have, how this moves forward. You're in this kind of frustrated passion. This situation has clearly upset your fire to move forward on something, and that makes sense. I think that everything kind of has to take a pause, even if you have everything that even if things were set up to move forward in a really great way that was going to bring you a lot of passion, that was going to bring you a lot of quality work, or or quality results, or really beautiful collaboration, that's all kind of gotten frustrated here because this has to be sorted out. In the meantime, this is all sort of a wait and see. I think the hangman energy kind of carries over here, and we've got a frustration in your passion and your ability to move forward actively in an inspired way. That's all kind of bottled up, because it's sort of pent up in this disappointment. And, in the environment, that's sort of the energy too, in a different way. They want, whereas there may have been a sense, that things were being built in a really quality way, that you were moving towards something that was going to be strong and sturdy and lasting. That's sort of frustrated too. And so what's on the table here is the breakup of a collaboration, or something that I don't mean to use the word breakup because that's not going to be for everybody, but I think that what was found out was enough of a breach where it really resets the terms of the dynamics of this relationship. I'm not seeing anything. I will say this: I'm not seeing anything like dire. There's not a tower moment on the table, for instance. This is all sort of, I think, the stuff that relationships of any sort are made of. So I will say that, Pisces. But it does make you reconsider some things, and it's caused a shift, caused a little bit of a a shift in the mortar, and so naturally your hopes and fears are going to be in should I stay or should I go. You're going to be a little bit like, maybe it's better if we get out of these choppy waters. So, I mean, in the fear sense, it would be like, do I walk away from this relationship dynamic, whatever this is, partnership? You know, do I move away from it where I can start anew somewhere else? Or, you know, is it just, you know, I hope that we can get out of the choppy waters and just find peace again together. There are, you know, there is more than one person in this boat, you know, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you go it alone when you move away from the energy of this, of whatever's causing the choppy waters here. The choppy waters is depicted here in this card that talks about emotional upheaval. And the direction they're going is through the still and calm, placid waters. So that's, you know, definitely what you're hoping for is the placidity of the next space. And I think you also hope that you can go together. But yeah, so that just really makes sense. And ultimately, your outcome, though, is the Queen of Cups, which means to me that it's worth it. This is sort of a necessary process that whatever has arisen, whatever was found out, you have to go through these necessary steps. And, you know, kudos to you for taking the time with this so that you can move forward in such a mentally clear way so that the Queen of Swords can become the Queen of Cups. Like, truly you return to yourself and you're able to, you know, Queen of Cups, you know, you're in this. This is your energy. And you're able to find love again, you know, or that loving space again. You're able to forgive. You know, the Queen of Cups definitely is, you know, all about, you know, being able to be forgiving. She's a nurturer. She understands holistically. The cup she's holding, I mean, it's got a, you know, her lid on it. She keeps things kind of quiet too. She's got this serenity about her, but it does represent this cup of unconditional love, and she is the wielder, one of the wielders of it. And so it's in being in your outcome. I think this ends up okay, but the advice here is that, you know, or, you know, what, you know, why it's here is that, you know, the energy for this week is, you know, and it just talks about it being right now too. Let's, you know, this is, sorry, this is, I'm bumbling. I can't talk and shuffle at the same time all of a sudden. It's just to say that, you know, stay the course. It's worth the energy. If ever you're, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you about that in a second. But you know, if ever you're having a moment where you're like, if you get bad advice or bad energy, wow, you know, some people get to be like, kind of, oh yeah. So some people can be, you know, advice comes in all flavors, you know, all shapes and sizes. And some people who are well-meaning, and just mean to be protective over you and your energy, that you can hear like, oh, just, some people will advise you to end something or move away from something, or, you know, because you deserve better, or you don't deserve this, you know, just, you know, and their intention is to be protective, but they don't have all the information. They don't understand, you know, they won't be understanding the complexity of how this relationship works, and or partnership, whatever it is. And so if you're hearing some of that, this reading is here to say, you know, that so long as you're really taking, you know, careful consideration and using your higher mind. The Hangman is a bit of a sage, you know, energy. So it's about using your higher mind. It's not just like hanging out, step back a second and then go back, you know, and re-engage. It really is a, you know, a meditative process that has its spiritual intelligence attached to it. I should, you know, clarify, because, you know, you get to a point where you are courageously communicating your point of view on this. And that makes all the difference, because your clarifying cards are the Priestess. Okay, we talked about her. That's you. You fully return to yourself through this process. Okay, don't worry, never fear. The Ten of Cups, that's just supreme happiness, that's all. And then the World in reverse. So it's so interesting. So yeah, clarifying the Queen of Cups, you know, this, you really do make a return to yourself. Whatever, I mean, I should say whatever happens, whatever you decide, it doesn't necessarily mean that you stay, or that, you know, what the dynamics of this situation may change, whatever you decide. I think you do have a sense of really being in a right disposition. You come out really strong. You appear as yourself in the outcome. That you means that you enrich yourself by moving through this with a really deep integrity. You really come forward and enrich yourself. You move from a Queen of Cups to full Priestess energy. That's you times 1,000. That's you at full saturation. And then with the Ten of Cups is just like, it's the mini sun card. As I say that, the bottom of the deck energy is the sun as well. So that means that, yeah, this is going to have a happy ending. This is going to have the happiest ending. So it's going to be really emotionally fulfilling for you. That's what the Ten of Cups says. That's how it specifies that happiness. And, you know, so this will pass one way or the other. And so whatever that looks like for you, it's going to be different for everybody who's watching this in the collective, of course. And so I'm going to keep it broad, of course. But, you know, whatever it is, those of you who are staying, those of you going, you know, whatever, you know, this is honored. I think this contract is honored one way or another. The World in reverse, I feel like, talks about unfinished business, and that perhaps is one of the things that is pointed to here, kind of an indication to that, you know, this story, you know, does go on to get better, and like you do have a soul contract with this person, or deep connection, you know, so soul contract, if you will. But, you know, but what you find in your deep ponderance over your scenario here with this connection, with this partnership, is that there is unfinished business, and there certainly is a lot of love, unconditional. And so it's worth, you know, it's probably for most of you going to be worth sticking it out, because the World would be and it's also points to a completion of a cycle. But, you know, but the completion of this cycle is that there's unfinished business. It's a little bit, you know, a little bit of a paradox, but, you know, it's tarot. What do you want? Sorry, I'm just cracking myself up. But I think it's really interesting that this is here. It really kind of sharpens up our outcome a little bit, doesn't it? But no matter what, we're looking at a full realization of yourself and real happiness that brings a deep level of emotional satisfaction for not only you, but for everybody involved. You know, this is beyond the Nine of Cups energy, which is kind of a solo project. You know, it's very personal happiness, but this is for, you know, for everybody involved, the whole family, all the village. It's really beautiful, Pisces. Well done. I'm so impressed by you. All right, Pisces, if that reading resonated with you, please hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe, and do comment below if you feel so moved. I hope to see you at the next one, and until then, I'm sending you my love and light. Bye for now.